What's going on? This is Edwin Vereen from WOBL, WDLW Sports, I-90 Sports, and the Sports Bros Podcast. And you're listening to Tapped In with Tony.
Welcome back to Tapped In with Tony. I am your host, Tony Bogan. And joining me, we've got a special guest. He is a fellow Shaker Heights native. He's a singer, songwriter, musician. Drew Castle joins the show.
Woo! I thought I heard a car in the background somewhere. I don't know. Nah, what's going on with you, Tony, man? I'm
Bro,
glad you got me on the show today, brother. We've been trying to get this together for a minute, so I'm really hyped that we're able to be on here today, bro.
I'm happy that you came on, man. I see you're rocking the F1 shirt and you've been doing your thing with music, man.
Yeah, man. I've been going at it pretty strong. I mean, I live in Nashville now, so I've been here for 8 years, and so since I moved here, it's been nonstop. So.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
Before we get into that, tell us a little bit about your background for those who are listening for the first time.
Yeah, I grew up Cleveland, Ohio. I was born and raised in Maple Heights. I done lived all over the city, actually, from Maple to Bedford to Solon to Shaker. I've lived all over the city, so I have a lot of experience when it comes to the many different people, the different scenes in the city. You know what I'm saying? But I grew up in church. My dad's a pastor. Um, Grew up playing sports my whole life. Grew up knowing music my whole life. So. Yeah, that's like just a slight little background of me, I guess. I mean, my grandmother was a singer, my mom was a singer, my sister's a singer, and my brother's a rapper, you know what I'm saying? So I've been around music for a good amount of time, so that's just a little bit of background. But sports was my whole life, honestly. Sports was like the first love. That was the thing for me to use. Well, that was the thing that I was using to get up out of the city. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? So that's
yes,
just a little bit of background.
absolutely. And I know you had brothers who played football as well. You had cousins who
Yeah,
played football.
yeah.
Yeah.
The whole entire family, yo.
Tell us a little bit more about your musical background coming up. I know you say your dad was a pastor, your mom was a singer, your grandma was a singer. Tell us a
Yeah.
little bit about that.
Well, I started playing drums at 3 years old, and that's when I got my first drum set around the age of like 3 and 4. My grandmother got me my first drum set, and she was a old time jazz singer, so she traveled the world literally singing and performing jazz all over the world. And my mom is a praise and worship leader. Um, and she sings very, very well. My sister sings. She's done a lot of background stuff for a lot of different artists. And I've always had this love for music. Music has always been a part of my life in every aspect. Even when it came down to me, like, playing sports, I'm always listening to music before practice. I'm listening to music while I'm working out. I'm listening to music before the game, after the game, those type of things. It's always been a part of my life. I started playing piano and guitar around, I started playing piano around maybe like 9 or 10, and I started playing guitar at 12. That's when I got my first guitar. So it's always been a part of me. I just didn't know exactly where to place it because sports was my whole life. So yeah, I mean, I believe I definitely get my gifts and my talents when it if you're talking about the background, definitely from my mom, my grandmother, my sister. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's some of the background of it.
Oh wow, that's impressive. And
Mhm.
my grandma also has a bit of a background too. She used to be a Motown singer for the group the Marvelettes.
Whoa, hold
Yup.
on, Tony. This is crazy. Wait a second. She was one of the Marvelettes, bro.
She was part of the Marvelettes at one point. Yes.
Wow,
Yep. Yep.
bro, that's crazy.
Yep. And she was
That is
part of
insane.
yeah, from the '60s, and I believe she was part of another group called Love, Peace, and Happiness in the '70s. But she was part of the Motown. She was part of the group at one point.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's crazy, bro. That's
And
amazing. That's some history right there for you all in itself.
oh, absolutely, absolutely. I knew my grandma was a singer, but I didn't know she was in Motown till years ago. I
And
was like,
Motown singing.
wow.
I got a love for Motown, man. So that's why when you said the Marvelettes, I'm like, hold on, what? Insane, bro. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
We've come for someone who also has a bit of a sports background. I remember we
Yeah.
did stuff with football,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
stuff with
Yo, for
baseball,
sure.
Shaker Heights.
Yes.
So that goes hand in hand. If you know, who are some of the singers that your sister did some background stuff for?
She's done some stuff with an artist named Doobie Powell. She's done if I'm not mistaken, she did a little bit for she might have did something for John Legend a while ago.
Wow.
I could be wrong. But I know she tried out and did some trials for like Lady Gaga.
Ooh,
And I know she's some trials for Mary J. Blige, you know what I'm saying? Um so yeah.
yep. Awesome.
Mhm.
Who are some of your musical influences outside of your family, of course? Who are some of the artists that you listen to who you said, hey, maybe I can emulate the style and what I do?
Yeah, it's a mixture of people, man, from from R&B and pop music to gospel music, So I'm gonna just give you like the timeline. Well, first I grew up in church, you know what I'm saying? So, my biggest influence uh in gospel music is Fred Hammond. Fred Hammond taught me so much as an artist. He taught me how to approach a song, you know what I'm saying? How to have feeling and how to be effective and simple at the same time. You know what I'm saying? So I got that from Fred. There's another artist who's now R&B now. He goes by B Slade, but um his his gospel artist name at the time was Tone.
Mhm.
Tone is like the start of me going into making music. You know what I'm saying? He was the first person that I was like, man, I want to be able to do that, you know? And so you got Fred Hammond, you got Tone, who's now B Slade. And if you know me for real, you know that Chris Brown's my guy.
Mm,
I learned how to write songs listening to Chris Brown. I
mm.
learned how to properly put together a song listening to Chris. You
Ah,
know, um, there's a Justin Bieber's one of them. Mint Condition is who helped me appreciate live music. I can go all the way back to the Temptations. I love the Temptations. These are some people, some groups that I really, really, really looked up to. And then if you want to go like to the female side, I think so I just named all the males, but if you go to the female side, like I like Beyonce, I like Taylor Swift. Who else? I like Summer Walker. These are a lot of the people who have been Brandy, you know, been an influence to me over the years. Whitney Houston, like they have all helped shape the type of artist and songwriter and musician that I am today, for sure.
that's amazing, especially with
Mhm.
Justin Bieber, with where he started off at. If you
Yo,
thought he would have been a musical influence in a good way,
yo.
and you said this in 2010, people would laugh you out the room.
Oh no, no, legit, legit. They would have definitely been like, ah, yeah, yeah, whatever. But me, honestly, I know that I get a lot of flack when I say that Chris Brown has been an influence to me. And to be honest with you, I don't really care what people have to say about his past and all the things that he's went through. It doesn't take away the fact that he was a musical influence to me. You know what I'm saying? So I'll never take that away from him. And everybody has their trials and tribulations, things that they go through in their life. And I feel like people put their nose into things that they know nothing about. And so when they don't have the full story about things, they definitely can misconstrue some things,
Mhm.
So for me, I'm always still rep that Chris is one of my favorite artists, if not my favorite artist of all time.
Respect that. And not every musician is a choir boy. Like
Yeah,
every
that's true.
musician is very flawed in some way or another,
That's
no
facts.
matter what.
That's
And
true.
yep. And moving forward, like as you got into your college years, how did you get involved with R&B music? I believe you got involved with that at some point.
Yeah, so when I first started writing songs, they were more like contemporary songs. They were kind of like I would call them life songs, and I would listen to Taylor Swift. I would listen and watch like High School Musical, and I would listen to these songs, and I would hear this. acoustic like feel in these songs, and it really, you know, got me intrigued to try to do something like that. So I started trying to mix the two together. I started trying to mix the pop and R&B music together, and that's what's been my vibe from really from the beginning, honestly. When I first started writing songs, it was strictly on the guitar, but I was singing with an R&B voice. You know what I'm saying? So that mix of contemporary on the guitar, but an R&B voice is what I was. That's what you were getting out of the music. Like when I first started putting out music on like SoundCloud and posting covers on YouTube. I even got covers on YouTube of me like at Shaker, like in Mr. Holiday's room. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like recording myself singing and playing with auto tune and on the piano and everything. You know what I'm saying? So um, I think that my experience with R&B music has been amazing. It's something that's gonna always be a part of me. So I'm always gonna shoot for that pop and R&B feel. I'll
Mm.
go a little further pop, but I'll always have that R&B feeling. You know what I'm saying? I have to have that. And to me, to be honest with you, a I feel like it gives a I'm trying to think of how to say this. I'm sorry, but um in so many worlds when you're dealing with genres and you're dealing with music, when you're dealing with pop music, you get more of a white crowd. With
Yes.
R&B music, you get more of a black crowd. So me being able to mesh the two together as a songwriter or an artist or a musician or whatever the case is, it gives me a chance to expand and reach everybody. So
Oh,
that's why I like to keep it at that.
absolutely.
I don't want to go too far on one side or the other. I want to be able to make music that
Right
can
down the middle.
absolutely it can reach everybody.
So like an NSYNC or a Backstreet Boys who
Oh, for sure.
makes pop music for predominantly white audiences, not
Yeah,
that they
yeah,
have
yeah.
black people that listen to it. But then they got their R&B ballads.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they do have their R&B balance for sure.
Yep,
They
and
definitely.
reminds me of there was a when they did the whole Disney Club, Mickey Mouse Club
Get a
early
Mickey Mouse
90s.
Club.
There's a YouTube video of Christina singing a Mary J. Blige song, Ryan
Yeah,
Gosling, Justin Timberlake,
yeah, bro.
Nathan Johnson singing Jodeci.
I know, right?
I'm like,
Insane.
wait, what? This was a thing?
It was a thing, yo. Even when Justin Bieber was like coming out and singing like songs, he was doing like R&B songs. You know what I'm saying? Like he was singing a mixture of songs, but he still gave an R&B feel. Even in his music now, you can feel the R&B and the influence of R&B in his music. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. And
Yeah.
this is just amazing considering how people used to clown on him when he
I
first
know,
started.
yo.
Take the
They used to
chorus.
clown that man so bad, yo. But they see now why what he was doing before was so important to who
Oh,
he is now. You know what I'm saying? They ain't laughing no more. You know,
yeah. Now
you
he's got
gotta you
the
gotta
mic
respect
left.
it.
Yep. And continuing on with that, have you like put out an album yet or gone on tour and done some music?
Yeah, when I first moved to Nashville, I was signed to a label called Tree Vibes Music. I was managed by to me the biggest country duo in the history, which was Brian and Tyler of the Florida Georgia Line.
Oh,
They were the ones who moved me to Nashville, and so when I came to Nashville, I was here maybe about like 3 weeks, maybe, and then Tyler sent me a text and like he was like, yeah, like I had already signed my contract, and he was like, hey man, we're thinking about taking you on tour, and this tour was called the Anything Goes tour, and it was with FG, it was with Florida Georgia Line, me, this guy named Frankie Ballard, and Thomas Rhett. So we were all on tour together.
wow.
And so yeah, that was my first tour. That was my first time. I mean, I went from performing at home in Cleveland in front of like 50 people to performing in front of 20,000 people every night. And that was a quick reality check for sure, you
I
know.
bet.
So I definitely have experienced being out on tour. I know what the road is like. I've been on the road recently. In the past year, I've been on the road nonstop for playing, doing guitar work and songwriting for other artists. And when I was under the label, I did put out an EP, which is a short version of an album. and we it was called Remember My Name. But recently, I've been getting a lot of calls and messages from people like, "Hey, we can't find your album on like Apple Music or anything anywhere." So I this is just my idea. I think that because the label isn't what the label is anymore, like it was before, I think the music got taken down.
Mm.
And but yeah, I definitely put out uh some projects before then. I put out music on SoundCloud long ago. And now currently working on some new music to put out this upcoming year. So we're gonna see how that goes.
Okay. Who are some of the notable artists that you've worked with since you've got signed to Florida Georgia Line's label?
Uh, my very first session was with Aloe Black. I'll tell you that. My very first like writing session um was with Aloe Black. It was me, FGL, and Aloe Black in the studio. We were in this treehouse studio out in the woods. It was super dope. That was my first session. And who else? I don't know if you know who Ernest is, but he's a country singer as well.
Mm.
Super, super dope. And me and him used to write songs all the time. And at first he used to be a rapper, but now he's doing this singing thing and he's blown up really, really big. So that's a really good friend of mine. There's always love between us two. Um, I don't know. I've shared the same stage as like Jason Derulo,
Mhm.
Sam Hunt. Um,
Kane Brown.
yeah, Kane Brown for sure. Oh, I got
Mhm.
a funny story about Kane Brown. There was this I would call a legendary night during the CMA Awards, and it was me and the label. We all went to see the show, and went to go see the show, and Justin Timberlake was there. And so Justin was singing this song called Drink You Away. And the person who was singing this song with him on the stage was this guy named Chris Stapleton.
Mhm.
So I didn't know who Chris Stapleton was at this time. So I'm on the side of the stage watching this all take place, and I'm like, who is this dude? He was going crazy. It was Justin Timberlake and Chris Stapleton singing the song "Drink You Away." After the show, um, one of the assistants who worked with me at the time, he came up to me. He was like, "Hey, we're gonna run back to the studio right quick. So we're all just gonna meet over there." And I was like, "Okay, cool." So when we got to the studio, he was like, "Hey, I got somebody upstairs. I feel like you two would be cool. You guys should definitely meet." I told him a lot about you, all this stuff, and he's looking to really try to break into the country world. And so I was like, "Okay, cool." So he's like, he's up in the studio right now. So I went up in the studio, and sitting there was Kane Brown. And
Wow.
so that's how me and him met. And so
Wow.
from then we've always had a love for each other. There's always respect. We don't talk as much now, but we still have a mutual respect for one another when we do see each other. You know what I'm saying? So Kane is hella dope.
That's
Um,
awesome. That's
we
awesome.
talking about writing songs. I wrote a song for Tank called Slow, which R&B singer Tank.
Yes.
Worked and did some stuff for him, and that was number one on R&B charts for a good amount of time. Got a Grammy consideration, and we got nominated for two Soul Train awards for that, which was
That's
super dope.
amazing.
Yeah, man. So super
Yeah.
dope. A lot of, and there's been some songs that I've pitched to and have sent over for Justin Bieber, for Chris Brown. I came close to possibly being on the Chris Brown album, which I thought was super dope because that's my favorite artist.
Mhm.
And yeah,
Wow. That's amazing. And it looks like Nashville's just a poppin' city. Like I know people who live down there. It's
bro, Nashville is popping, yo. I didn't want to move down here at first, you know what I'm saying? Because if you know anything about the city of Cleveland, you know the city of Cleveland is a little rough, you know what I'm
yeah.
saying? And it can be really, really tough getting about the city. And not too many people are going to say, hey, what's up to you when you're walking past on the street, you know?
Yeah.
But when I moved down here, I was afraid of moving down here because I was just like, man, I'm a city kid. Like, I'm a kid from the city for real.
So
And
you're a city slicker.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, I don't know how this is gonna go. I don't know how when I moved down here, people were walking by on the street saying, "Hey," you got people stopping on the bike saying, "Hey, how you doing? How's your day going?" I was like, "Man, this is like different for me for sure." And
That's awesome.
so ever since then, it felt like home away from home in the sense of how my family is, how close to my family is. It just felt like home. So
That's
it
amazing.
made the transition a whole lot easier for sure. But
That,
Nashville's popping, brother.
oh yeah. Have you seen Dolly Parton at all?
Yes, I have. I've seen Dolly Parton a few times down here, not in concert, but just in venues and areas and
Oh,
stuff like that. You're liable to see almost anybody down here for real, for real.
Trace Adkins, Kid Rock, who, believe it
Oh,
or not, was a rapper back in the day. Flat top and everything.
hold on, Kid Rock was a rapper.
He was a rapper. He opened up for Ice Cube in early 90s, of all people. Had an album produced by Too Short.
Whoa! Hey, that's crazy.
Yes, I'm not even joking. I'm dead serious. It was called Grits Sandwiches for Breakfast. Too Short produced it in 1990.
Too Short produced Kid Rock is wild.
Yup. Kid Rock was a rapper before he went the country route. It's on
Dog,
Spotify. The album is on Spotify.
I, I'm telling you right now, bro. When I get off of this with you, I'm going to listen to this rap album. I'm telling you now.
You have to. Trust me.
That's wild. That's good to know. That's good to know.
Oh, absolutely. Outside of music, what's your favorite thing to do in Nashville? Have you ever been to either the Indy car race or the NASCAR race that were in town? Because I know Nashville. I'm a huge NASCAR fan. I know they
Yeah.
raced at the Super Speedway for a
Yeah,
while.
I mean that NASCAR race they were doing down here is literally 4 minutes away from my house. And I never got a chance to see it, but you can always hear it because it's like super loud.
Oh,
And they literally block off the streets. Like you can't get through anywhere. And anytime they come and do a NASCAR thing down here, um it gets very, very chaotic because Nashville is like super, super crowded with so many people.
oh,
And when they block off those streets, man, it's a
it's
wrap.
over.
It's over with. So um I haven't got a chance to go to that at all. But outside of music, honestly, I'm a little more chill than what people would think. Honestly, I mean, like I like to go out to bars and eat food and be with my homies and my friends and stuff like that. But if I don't have to be out, then I'm not gonna be out.
Yeah,
There has to be like a reason for me to come out. Like it's like the homies are like, "Hey, let's go do this," and I'm like, "All right, cool." But if ain't nobody hit me up about nothing, most of the time I'm in the crib. But I do
yeah,
like I like getting my workout in on a daily. I like playing basketball with the guys. So we do that all the time.
awesome.
That's like 2-3 times a week we're together.
Right.
What else?
Sometimes you get in the car, you call and ask who all there.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, like legit. Well, we got a whole group chat and we just text every morning like,
who
"Hey,
all
y'all
there?
still hoop? Y'all on the ball?" And then sometimes we'll get no answers, and sometimes we get a bunch of answers.
Yep.
But
Sometimes it
I
be like,
like doing that. And sometimes it really do be like that. But there's another thing I like doing that I don't. It might be strange to some people, I don't know, but like I like um I like to go house looking. I like going looking at homes like deep in Tennessee or deep in Nashville, looking at the structure of homes and houses and the yards and all that stuff. Like I like actually going out there and looking at these things. I don't know. I feel like it brings some type of peace of mind. I don't know. I think because I'm around people all the time,
yeah,
so I think this gives me a chance to like not necessarily be by myself, but it gives me a chance to think outside of all the action. You know what I'm saying?
absolutely.
So it gives me a chance to dream and imagine. You know, um, that's one thing. I do love food. I love tacos.
Mm,
Um, let me think. Yeah, but for the most part, if I'm not really like traveling or doing like some studio work or something like that, or like hooping with the guys, um, most times I'm just at the crib. I mean, like I'm a pretty easygoing guy. So if something intrigues me, like if you got something that y'all want to do, like sometimes my friends they go like to the trampoline spot. They be like, let's go just jump on the trampoline. Like I like doing stuff like that too. You know what I'm saying? I'm a
yeah.
big kid too. So
Oh yeah.
So those a few things. I can't even think of anything else because I feel like I've done almost everything down here. But yeah, those are a few things.
Gotcha. And talk to me about your appearance on the Today Show.
Yes. Okay. So I'm the music director and I play guitar for a mom and daughter um, duo. They do country music. And the history behind these two is actually very, very amazing. You know what I'm saying? The history goes all the way back to Wu Tang. Um, but I have been working with them and doing stuff with them for the past like 2.5, maybe 3 years. And so we got that call like, hey, we want y'all on today's show. And I'm with them in everything that they do everywhere they go. So if it's anything that has to do with just the acoustic guitar, I'm with them every single time. And they're also like really good friends of mine too. You know what I'm saying? So I kick it with them on the regular. I'm with them on the regular. Um, the Today Show was an experience because the Today Show is one of the shows that I watched growing up, especially Chris Brown. I watched Chris Brown perform on the Today Show plenty of times and have been in some of my favorite performances ever are when Chris Brown performed on the Today Show. There's a performance that Fantasia did on the Today Show where her singing the song called Lose to Win. One of my favorite performances on the Today Show. So being the guy to be on there was so crazy because when I got there, first of all, the times are ridiculous. Like the sound check is at like 3 o'clock in the morning because they do everything early. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So sound check's 3 o'clock in the morning. Let's get everything together before it's time to do the show, which is probably around like 8, 9 o'clock. And so it's a big rush of just energy. When I got there, I didn't get no sleep at all because I didn't want to miss it. I didn't want to fall asleep and not wake up in time for sound check. But it was an
It
experience
makes
for
me like
sure.
New York.
Yeah, man, I love New York. Yo, New York is like top three favorite spots for me.
Okay.
But um, I'll tell you this, man, that experience was is something I'm going to be able to hold with me for the rest of my life because if I never get a chance to do anything else again on that show, whether it's me playing guitar for somebody or if it's me performing, I can say that I was still there. And that for me, and it's something that I'll be able to cherish for the rest of my life. And um, I was overcome with emotion just being there because it was something that I've watched growing up. As entertainers that I look up to, I've learned how to entertain watching that show. You know what I'm saying? So that was something that I can't even describe the feeling, to be honest with you. And I would look at artists and I would see them do interviews and they would say things like, I don't even know what to say. That's the feeling that I feel. Like I
Wow.
don't know what to say. It was just amazing. And yeah.
That's amazing. And I've got a couple
Hmm.
more questions for you before we
For
wrap
sure.
up.
Yeah.
What's the future? What's the future plans? And I know you say your top three are Nashville, New York, and what's that other city?
So DC.
DC. Mm,
Hmm. I
interesting.
love DC. I love Nashville. I love New York. I love LA for what it is. I can never live out there, but I do love LA. Those are my spots. Honestly, I love Atlanta. I have a lot of love for Atlanta. I've been in Atlanta. I've been doing so much stuff, so much work in Atlanta now for the past like I'm gonna say 6 months straight. I mean, like consistent work down in Atlanta with a lot of artists. And yeah, man, like DC is one of my favorites because they have this spot in DC called U Street.
Mm,
And U Street is basically like what Broadway is in Nashville.
mm,
But it's a little longer and it's a little more urban too as well. So
gotcha. Gotcha.
hmm
And what are the plans here for the future as far as music goes? I know you say you were writing some songs for artists. Like any plans on potentially putting another EP out or collabing with someone? I mean, we've seen you recently on
Yeah,
something.
brother. Yeah, I have. I don't. Most people don't know this, but a little while ago, I had lost my voice and I couldn't sing for a little bit.
Mm,
So I had to get my voice back, and so now that I am in a more comfortable position to record, um, there's definitely new music coming out next year. and there's some plans I have with my team, and I think it's gonna be amazing, man. Like I don't think that there is anything that I can't do when it comes to what's about to happen next year, yo. So I'm really excited to get the music out. Hopefully, get another EP out. I know I have a few singles that I'm releasing next year for sure. Some visuals that I can't wait for y'all to see. I'm just I don't know, man. I'm just thankful to be in the position that I'm in right now. God has been amazing to me, bro, and He's really been, you know, showing me how to move, showing me what to do, connecting me with the right people, and the future is definitely looking really bright. And so, you know what? I'm gonna tell you this, Tony, real quick, is that it's an amazing feeling to have a vision for the things you want to do, and then see that vision happen right in front of your face. Those kind of things for me is just crazy because it's like some of the things that you're doing right now are probably things you thought about doing years ago, but you didn't know that it would probably happen the way it is right now. Or
Yeah.
there were people that you probably told about these kind of things and they probably didn't believe in you as much. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And for me, that's how I feel. Is it's like I'm looking at all the things that I saw about myself when I was 16 and 17 years old. And I'm seeing all of it happen for me right in front of my face. And so for that, I'm super thankful. So next year,
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you
be on
for
the lookout, brother.
you got it. And thanks again for coming on the show. Where can people find your stuff or where can people find you?
Yeah, man. Well, first of all, thank you for having me on the show because I know we've been trying to get this together for a minute. And to be honest with you, my schedule had been so wild. So I'm super sorry that it's been crazy trying to get on here, man. But I really wanted to get on here with you to make sure that we were good.
It's all good,
Um,
man.
but if you want to find me on like any socials, just type in I'm Drew Castle. Not I am Drew Castle, just I'm Drew Castle.
Got it.
Because if you type in I am Drew Castle, you're gonna come across another page. And it's so funny in the link of that in the bio of that person's page, it says like I am not the Drew Castle who sings I'm not the Drew Castle with dreads who sings folk music. And I was like, I don't even sing folk music, bro. But I guess people would try to go to that person's page and try to find me. But if you want to find me, it's just I'm Drew Castle. That's it.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you again for coming on the show. Thank you guys all for tuning in. You can find Tapped In with Tony on Spotify. You can find me on Twitter at tbokes2010
Yeah,
and Instagram created by Tony and tbokes2010. Thank y'all for tuning in. Y'all have a good evening.
absolutely, brother. Take care.